Write this up and submit it now. My mistress got pregnant. We've been together for about 5 years. I want to live with her from now on. What he handed me was a divorce form. The affair was shocking enough, but that he had gotten her pregnant was beyond belief. I'll go with Dad too. Even my beloved son abandoned me, plunging me into despair. However, a few years later, an incredible tale of revenge unfolded. My name is Amelia, a stay-at-home wife. I've always wanted to work, but I've been frail since childhood and unable to hold a job. I don't have a specific illness, but my immunity is weaker than others. So, I get sick easily, and even a minor cold can turn serious. But it led me to meet James. Wanting to change my frail self, I started going for walks. That day, I felt I could go further, but I ended up collapsing halfway. Resting on a nearby bench, a man approached me. It was James. "Are you okay? Can I get you something from the store over there?" "It would be great, thanks." Drinking the bottle of water that James bought from the store, we decided to take a break together. There, we talked about so many things, it didn't feel like our first meeting at all. We exchanged contacts, started seeing each other frequently, and became lovers. During our relationship, he always cared for my health, allowing me to feel secure. Our relationship smoothly progressed to marriage. I thought I would be happy with the gentle James, but his true nature emerged as we spent more time together. He began making sarcastic remarks about my frail health whenever something happened. Not working, I wanted to do my best with cooking and household chores, to make sure James could rest properly when he came home. I tried various recipes, thinking about nutrition. But James never commented on the taste of my cooking. "Hey, how's the stew today? It took me a while to cook it." "No, yay." That was the extent of our dinner conversation. And he would gulp down his food without properly chewing. I wished he would savor it more, but I thought maybe he was just hungry and didn't say anything until he finished his stew and then stared at my plate. "There's more stew if you want more. Should I get a bit more for you?" "No, I'll take yours." For some reason, James took my stew. Stunned, I saw a look of disgust on his face. "What's wrong? Got a complaint? I'll eat the leftovers tomorrow." "Why not refill now? Why take mine? Stop making it sound so bad. You don't move much, so you don't need much, right? I work, so I'm the priority. If you're hungry, just eat some snacks around here. That should be enough." His words hit me hard. True, I wasn't working, and compared to James, I didn't move much. But as a human being, I still need to eat to live. I was full of retorts, but I could see his point. This cycle of negativity made me feel maybe it was natural for him to point out my inactivity. Somewhere in my heart, I believe James understood me. "There are things I can't do, but let's work hard together." I thought he was that kind of compassionate person. Feeling betrayed because I had high hopes only made the sadness grow. Yet, amidst such life, there was joy too. 2 years into our marriage, we were blessed with a child. Not wanting to burden James, I decided to return to my parents' home for a while. He's usually like that, but maybe he'd worry about me now that I'm pregnant. That's what I thought, but James never visited me at my parents' house. Being frail, and this being my first experience, I felt incredibly lonely, and once made a call. "What's wrong?" "No, it's not that something happened. I just wanted to hear your voice. Being here alone makes me anxious." At that, James sounded quite displeased. "Don't call me for such things. I'm busy, you know." "Of course, I understand that. But we're married. I wish you'd let me lean on you a bit. I hope for that much understanding. I have responsibilities unlike you. I'm leading a crucial project right now. Without me, things won't go right. So, unless it's an emergency, don't contact me." With that, he hung up the phone. Overhearing the conversation, my mom said, "Was that James? That's no way to speak, isn't it? Prioritizing work when his wife is pregnant and back at her parents'. Amelia, are you sure about him?" She sounded a bit angry. "I'm sorry, Mom, but James is really a kind person. I've told you about how we met, right? He's as important to me as the person who saved my life." "Saved your life? That's an exaggeration. I know you're worried about me, and I appreciate it. But I'm truly okay. If you say so, I won't say any more." That was the right decision. I convinced myself to believe in the choice I made to marry James. I had to keep telling myself my decision wasn't wrong, or I felt I might break down from the pressure. Though James didn't visit during my pregnancy, he began to help out after the birth. Maybe he found his own child adorable. I felt a bit relieved. With James's help, our son Elijah grew up healthy. Things seemed to go well afterward. James still bragged about his work, but I figured it was okay as long as I endured it. Time flew, and Elijah became a university student, currently enrolled in medical school and studying. James's work became busier, and he started going to the office even on weekends. He must be working hard in my stead. I was genuinely happy about his dedication. Thinking of making delicious meals for him when he's tired, I got even more motivated. One day, James called me into the living room. "I need you to write this now." He handed me a divorce form. Confused, I couldn't comprehend what was happening. "What do you mean? You want to divorce me?" "Yes. Actually, my mistress got pregnant. I want to live with her from now." "Does that mean you were cheating?" "Exactly. You understand quickly. You're carefree and hardly go out, so I wasn't worried about getting caught. It was convenient for me to go out as much as I wanted. There was a time my colleague saw me with her, but I managed to fool him by saying she's my wife. I guess we've been together for about 5 years. Hearing it had been 5 years, I felt dizzy. All my efforts for James were in vain. I remembered I never met anyone from James's work. He had strongly told me not to go out because it worries me when you're not well. I was happy thinking it was a kind word, but it was all for cheating, and now he even has a child. Then, write it quickly. Shocked, I could only stare at the divorce form in front of me. James then smirked and said, "You'll be anxious without me, right? Because you can't work or have any income source on your own. So, I'll give you alimony. You can live on that. What about Elijah? Don't be so selfish. I'm going with Dad too." Saying so, Elijah entered the living room. It seems he had been listening to our conversation. "Elijah." I was left dumbfounded by Elijah's words. To that, James coldly retorted, "I see. Well, that makes sense. Future's uncertain with a mom who can turn for herself. Let's get the divorce over with, hurry up." This was the final straw. Despite everything, I still loved James. I couldn't forgive the affair, but I understood people find new loves. It's my fault for being incapable. Yet, the reason I wanted to hold on to James was because of Elijah. Being abandoned by Elijah plunged me into despair. But James was right, I had no financial strength. Elijah would need money to grow and experience things in the future. Thinking about it made me sad and frustrated, but I had to comply. This led me to decide on divorce with James. Having assured my mom that James was fine, I couldn't easily return home. Though she repeatedly said, "Come back home," I refused. I think I was just putting on a brave face. Afterwards, the divorce was finalized, and I received alimony for James's infidelity. James and Elijah left to live somewhere new with his mistress, leaving me alone in this house. The room, once filled with the 3 of us, now seemed too vast. Looking around this quiet room felt like seeing my empty heart. But now, I must be strong on my own. There were times I felt reckless after being abandoned by Elijah, but somehow, I managed to live through 6 years. Perhaps due to pushing myself too hard, I fell ill and collapsed. I was taken to the hospital and treated. Lying there with an 4 drip, I pondered faintly. Is this the end for me? Maybe I really can't live alone. I have nothing left. My head was filled with anxious thoughts. Tears welled up as I lay in the hospital bed. Then a doctor came in. Seeing that face, I was surprised. To my surprise, it was Elijah who was there. "Mom, it's been a while. Are you feeling a bit better?" Not expecting to meet him here, I was at a loss for words. Surprised, huh? Sorry for not telling you sooner. After everything, I graduated from college and became a doctor. I chose to work here because it's the hospital you often visit. Then Elijah bowed in apology. "I'm really sorry for everything. If I had been stronger, I could have supported you. But at that time, I had no other choice." Elijah chose James over me for his future. But that's not because of any negative meaning due to my lack of financial power. It was because he didn't want to burden me. Still, he apologized for seemingly abandoning me. You might think you're okay now, but your collapse is partly due to mental stress. Let's settle this. I'll help you. I spent time talking to Elijah about what happened after the divorce, James, and then the methods of revenge. Elijah had grown more than I could have imagined, almost making me cry. He assured me, everything will be okay now. Usually, it would take me a week to recover from a health setback, but this time, I felt better in just 2 days. That must have been how significant Elijah's presence was. A few days later, I got a call from James. It was the first time he had reached out since our divorce. Even though I didn't have feelings for him anymore, my heart still raced. Trembling, I pressed a call button, and James said in a panicked voice, "Amelia, help me. I need money." Like during our divorce, he always started conversations abruptly. Any tension I had felt disappeared. No matter how much time passed, James remained James. I decided to at least hear him out, somewhat exasperated. "What happened? Didn't I just tell you? I need money. Transfer it to my account quickly. I can't understand with just that. Explain properly." James seemed very desperate. As I calmed him down, he began to explain. "My mistress claimed she was the CEO's daughter. That's why I could give you alimony and afford Elijah's college fees. I paid for the contracts under my name with her money. And then, she disappeared without leaving a penny." Hearing he was left by his mistress and their child, I felt no sympathy. It was all his own doing. "Hey, terrible, right? Help me out. You're my ex-wife, right? You used to love me, right? That's in the past. I'm different from who I was back then. I will never help you." James seemed a bit shocked as I made myself clear. "Don't say things like that. I don't even have money for tomorrow's meal. Anything will help. Why would you rely on me, your ex-wife, in the first place? Sure, you were frail and couldn't work, so you shouldn't have money. I get that. But you still have the alimony I gave you when we divorced, right? Just return that to me. It should still be there." "How many years ago are you talking about? It makes no sense to ask for alimony back. I won't help you, no matter what." Saying that, I unilaterally ended the call. I remembered the time I was pregnant. Back then, James had ended the conversation unilaterally. Getting to return the favor felt somewhat refreshing. Even if I still had the alimony, I had no intention of giving it to him. I thought he would give up after that, but James was persistent. He kept calling and emailing me numerous times. So, I blocked his calls and emails. That should have completely cut him off. But then, James showed up at my house. "I'll be living here from now on. There's still a room available, right? Make sure to cook meals for me." I couldn't understand his nerve. "What are you saying? Leave now. Don't be so cold. You'll be better off with me around, right? Maybe we should remarry." "Stop joking. I won't remarry you." "No need to play coy. Maybe I should take a shower." "This is no place for you, Dad." James was surprised by the sudden appearance of Elijah. "Elijah, why are you here? It's been so long. You said you were going to live on your own after you got a job and left." "Misunderstanding something," he said with a laugh. "Ah, I see. You're going to live here too, huh? Great. Let's all get along again. We can be a good family." "I've always thought this, but why are you so carefree? You don't have money, right?" "That's true, but now I have you guys. So, I'm not sad or anything." I let out a heavy sigh. "I was thinking of waiting until we had a bit more evidence, but maybe you should take a look." "What are you talking about?" Elijah brought out some documents from the back of the room. There was a photo of James's mistress apologizing to a rather tough-looking man. "You recognize this scene, right? That's definitely Dad's mistress, Natalie. Her claim of being the CEO's daughter was a total lie. The reason she seemed wealthy was because she was in debt. She couldn't escape her lies anymore, so she ran away from you, didn't she?" Actually, after we got divorced, Elijah had been looking into Natalie. It seems he happened to see her borrowing money while kneeling. Natalie was quite reckless with money, and her debt just kept growing. That's when she met James. Even though the money was from debts, she lied, saying she was wealthy because she was the CEO's daughter. Weren't you curious why she never married Natalie, even after divorcing me? Well, marriage or not, there's no mistaking we were a family. We even had a child together. That's why people take advantage of you. You should face reality. Elijah brought out another document. It was the result of a DNA test for the child supposed to be between James and Natalie. No way, why? James collapsed to his knees after reading it. It clearly stated that the child was not James's. Natalie had been having an affair with another man too. Maybe Natalie was already married to that guy. Dad, you were just a good source of money for her. Elijah, how long have you known about this? 5 years, the same year Dad cheated. I started investigating Natalie right after the divorce. You understand how tough it was for Mom, right? But, is this okay with you? It's going to be tough for you alone from now on. After all, you're not working. Did you forget what I said before? I'm not the same person I was back then. I led him to the place that used to be James's room. There was a newly installed kitchen there, with cooking tools laid out. Since he seemed confused, I explained. After that, I remodeled the vacant room and started a cooking class. This way, I can manage on my own schedule, and since it's at home, I can work without worry. All the cooking I did thinking about James led me to this. Thank you. Yes, I had embarked on a new path as a culinary instructor. My focus on easy-to-make nutritious meals and aesthetically pleasing dishes was a hit with housewives. Maybe it was good that I posted my recipes on social media. I even have a cookbook publication coming up. So, that's the deal. I don't need you anymore. I have enough money, so don't get involved with us at all from now on. After hearing my story, James just slumped down. Somewhere in my heart, I feared maybe he will try to contact us again, but I never spoke to James again. That's because he himself became busy. He had to pay back a massive debt of $100,000 pushed onto him by Natalie, and besides getting caught introducing his mistress as his wife, he was also discovered engaging in fraud and was fired from his job. Unable to stay unemployed, he had to start from scratch looking for work, but the world isn't kind enough to easily hire someone who's been fired. I don't know what job he ended up taking, but I heard through the grapevine, James is falling apart. He seems to be running from debt collectors from some nasty places. But everyone says, he's reaping what he sowed. He has to deal with it himself. As for Elijah, he continues to live on his own but visits occasionally. I was a bit worried since he said he became a doctor for me. I wondered if he had something else he wanted to do, but Elijah just laughed and said, "Don't worry about it. Sure, that was because of you, but I chose this myself. I'll keep working hard from here on out. Thank you. Don't push yourself too hard. I truly have a wonderful son. He's my greatest treasure. As for me, I continue to enjoy my cooking classes as a hobby without any health issues. Thanks to everyone, it's been quite prosperous, and I'm just grateful. I think of this as my second life and plan to continue enjoying my current lifestyle."